Welcome back, guys. Well, I didn't buy this thing. I traded for it. Let's come have a look. Yeah, and it came with a blower. So I actually had the guy come and just drop this off, and then I'll show you what I traded to get this thing. So this is how I got that Craftsman LT1000 that you just saw. This is an Onan Generator. Pretty old unit. I can give you all the specs. They're right here. You're just not going to be able to see it, but for OCCK, whatever. I'll provide those in the description or something. But like I said, not running, but the engine does spin. The electric start even tries to work, but I think the brushes need to be repaired. I took a crack at it and couldn't really get much out of this thing, and didn't really feel like working on it. You can see a spark plug in here. So this is a gasoline engine. It has some sort of auxiliary fuel tank. I don't know why, but yeah. So I've had this listed since the summer, so for, I don't know, it feels like 6 months. It's been an absolute riot to have this on Marketplace, and the amount of people, and really odd people, that have contacted me about this generator. You know, I put all the specs in it, a huge description, you know, what I've tried to do to get this thing running, and, you know, anyway, I had it listed for $40, okay, so really just like scrap. And finally, someone contacted me with an offer to trade a tractor, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely in. So, say goodbye to this thing. We'll swap it for an LT1000 that I can actually fix and sell for a pretty decent price. So, see ya, Onan Generator. Pretty cool unit, but not for me. Yeah, so like you saw, it was an Onan Generator, and I got that thing for basically free, so I think this was a good trade. This thing's a bit clapped out though. That wheel isn't on. Jeez. But it is like a brand new tire. But I'd much rather have a tractor than a generator that I can't get to run. So this thing is in, you know, okay shape in some areas. Nice seat. I gotta get a gas cap on that. But yeah, let's get to work on this thing. I'm sure I'll be fine, and shouldn't have much of a problem replacing those front wheels. And for some reason this came in. Yeah, but because he said, hey, you know, sent me a message, the front tires are bad, I'll throw in a blower. I was like, you got it. All right, let's see if we can get this thing going. It's been a couple days, maybe a week. This tractor's sitting here in this weird part of my lawn, so I want to get some tires on this thing so I can get it out of the way. Pretty easy, right? I got these rims and tires from a guy who sold me his Craftsman with a blown engine. Well, actually, wasn't supposed to have a blown engine, but it did. But he just threw these in at the end. That was about a year and a half ago. These are still holding air, and you can see like the nubs on the tires. These are practically brand new. They're probably just, I don't even know if they were ridden, because they were off the machine, so maybe they were never used. But in great shape. So we're gonna put these on. Oh, this one's missing the bushing. I had one in my parts. Hopefully that's the right size. Kind of seems kind of long. I think it's okay. Not really. It's like a little too long. The groove for that C-clip isn't quite visible yet. I think we'll just grind it down some. We'll try that first. There we go. It's perfect. Didn't even go too far. There we go, we're on. Well, no one seems to like watching an unsuccessful engine start, so I'll save you the trouble and just let you know that it doesn't start. So definitely a fuel problem. You can see how gross this carb is. Did not want to separate. I wanted to save a little fuel in the bowl there so you could see it's just riddled with stuff. Tons of water in there. And most of that was water. This looks really good. I bet it's just the water why that couldn't start, but we'll clean it out. That needle's all messed up. I don't know if you can tell, probably not. But the tip of the needle's like almost cracked off. Yeah, like it's just ready. There, fell off. I mean, I pulled it off, but it was it was ready to go. So I got to find a replacement needle. Shouldn't be too hard to find. And we'll just spray this out with a little carb cleaner. Run some wire through the passages. I bet this thing will fire right up. Just going to put in a whole new float and needle just because I had one. There we go. My gloves are dirty. There we go. All cleaned out. I just drained the gas off camera and I got a new fuel line and filter here. Found a gas cap for it. Not getting any fuel to flow. Kind of a funny sound. Huh. Feels like it has no compression now. Did you hear something break like I did? Oil. Huh. Ah, guys, you missed it. I forgot to hit record. Well, I took the spark plug out. I checked to make sure the piston was moving up and down, and it is. The spark plug was fouled. And then it started up. Seems like this thing wants a fuel pump. I think we just ran out of fuel going up the hill. Having a hard time getting fuel in there. I also noticed it's not charging the battery, although it looks like I'm getting plenty of voltage out of the stator. So I've got to look into that. I don't know if I have something loose somewhere. Oh, let's see if it'll restart. Although I might have to push it off the hill here. Probably hard to see, but I'm on a pretty good slope. Oh, I'm rolling backwards. Alright, we'll push it. There we go. I just blew into the gas tank there. That should do it. Wonder if it wasn't getting a good prime. All right, weak battery. Let's see you do it. Come on. Gonna do it. I don't know if you could tell there, but the blades were on. All right, so a couple things. Good news, it started back up the next day. I just had to jump the battery. I wasn't able to keep working on it, so this is the next day. I think it just lost prime once I blew into the gas tank and actually got some gas into the filter. Everything's been fine regarding fuel, transmission, and everything runs great. The mowing deck does work, but it does not disengage. So that's why, you know, the blades are spinning there as I'm off the machine. And it still doesn't charge the battery. I cleaned out the ignition connection, the main harness connection. You know, when I probed the main harness, I was getting voltage, looking like plenty to charge the battery. So somehow it's not getting back to the battery, I think is the issue. So we'll have a little bit of electronic stuff to work on. You know, we'll definitely refurbish this mowing deck. And, you know, it's got new front tires and wheels. And, you know, maybe just hit a few spots up with some black paint, you know, there. And I always like to do the back of the tractor too with black paint. That always looks really nice. So I think that's all we're really gonna have to do with this. But I think first up is trying to diagnose why this doesn't charge the battery. I'm inside the shed trying to research problems with Kohler commands not charging, LT1000s not charging, and this snow squall is blowing through. They're saying it's supposed to get like whiteout conditions, not much for accumulation, but just a lot of wind and low visibility. So I think we're starting to see it. Kind of nice. Nice change of pace from rain to see some snow. Getting windy. I think I'll go back in the shed and keep up my research. To just keep you up to date with the diagnosis process and just to verbalize everything, you know, this Kohler command doesn't have a voltage rectifier. It just has the wires coming off the stator, just going to the main clip harness. And you know, I believe what I'm looking for is this wire, which has the little connector. You know, you could undo it here. I'll try to do it one-handed, possibly. There you go. So this would run back to the battery. This is coming from the battery. So I think what I want to do is run the engine and probe this and just see if I'm getting DC voltage, because I mean, I don't know, just sort of thinking here, you know, without a rectifier it'd just be AC voltage, unless there's like a diode or something sort of thingy. So I've got to look into that, but I'll probe this first and just see what kind of numbers we get on the multimeter. Really hard to show you in there, but I am a bit stumped. So I'm getting AC voltage through the harness, you know, going all the way back to the key switch. All that seems fine. The lights are running, and the lights seem to be running off the alternator, not off the battery, which is good. But so that's interesting too. So that means that there's some DC voltage happening somewhere. It's just not making its way back to the battery. So I'm gonna mess around with the ground wire on this. I mean, obviously the battery is working, so that's a little strange. you know, usually you don't have to worry about your ground wire if the battery starts the engine. But so yeah, just kind of trying to figure it out, keeping you updated. All right, let's get a new battery installed. See if this thing will start without a jump pack on it. Oh yeah, that's a good battery. Well, it's really cold outside, so I'm glad we're in the shed here. And this thing desperately needed a new battery. But still have some bad news. It is not charging the battery like I thought it was yesterday. I was watching the voltage go up on that really old clapped out battery, but I think that might have just been, you know, after starting it, then the voltage comes up a little bit after it dips down for the startup. But yeah, I still got to look into this charging system. It's not working right, and that's a big problem. So we got to solve that. And with this thing in here, I can do like an engine service. I'm going to take the deck off. I got some paint. Like I said, it's frigid, but we'll see. Maybe we can paint it today. We'll see what we can get done. Well, the deck's looking pretty good. Getting it cleaned up, but I'm sure some of you spotted this section of the deck, which has a bunch of little rot holes, and this metal doesn't ever weld very well. I know, like, I could probably try some stick welding on it, but I'm not very good at that. So I think I'm just going to like flatten this out a little bit because there's a big bump right here. I'm sure it took some damage somewhere, and I'm going to use some bondo, and then we'll sand it down, and then we'll be painting this whole deck in just a minute here. All right, we have some bondo mixed up here. Obviously we have some pretty big holes a little worried about that. So I might have to wait until this bondo sets up a little bit more. Which doesn't take too long. And hopefully I'll be able to fill those holes there. Kind of a big ask for the bondo. Yeah. We'll see how we do. Just mixed up a little bit more. Probably just leave it on pretty gloppy. It'll require a bunch of sanding, but I think we'll get it accomplished here. Just an update on the charging system drama. We got some of these relay doohickeys. I don't really know what these are. But I've been probing them with the multimeter, and we have this sort of yellowish wire right here. That seems to be AC voltage, and it seems to be really good AC voltage. So that to me says that this stator is working. It's producing something like 40 watts AC, and that's a lot. So that needs to be converted to DC, and I'd imagine that, you know, all these loops, and you got this blue wire, the rest of them are black, which sort of seem like grounds, and I don't really know, but basically it's not giving off anything good as far as DC voltage going back to the battery or anything. So I think these are bad, except I swapped them out for some other ones and I have the same result. You know, these, you don't need these to start the engine. You can run the engine, pull these things off. It doesn't seem to matter. They seem to be related to the charging system. Yeah, I'm a little ignorant about these, I admit it, but just trying to figure it out. So I wonder if I can retrofit this with a voltage regulator that I'm more familiar with. I mean, we have our AC voltage, and then we just need ground, and then a rectifier, and then it should, you know, we should be able to send that back to the battery to charge this thing. So I'm gonna see what I can do here. Okay, so hopefully I can demonstrate what I've done here, because I actually found a solution to this. But what I'm going to do just to show you is I have my multimeter set to AC voltage. I'll connect this yellowish wire and then ground it out, and then we should see a pretty high voltage here, around 40. So let me first demonstrate that to you. Start up the engine here. I know that was kind of sloppy, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. All right, so this is what I created. This comes off a Briggs voltage rectifier, and it requires a ground, it requires AC voltage, and then it will spit out DC voltage. And that's what I have going on here. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to connect this here. Then I'll have to temporarily ground this, or maybe I can figure it out here. Maybe I'll permanently find a good spot for that, and then I'll test this, and you'll see that we get like 15 volts DC. So I think we figured it out here. But let me ground this thing, and then I'll show you. All right, just grabbed a ground off the engine block there. So hopefully we can see this. We have the rectifier grounded. It's also plugged into AC voltage. And then we have our output here, and I'll use the multimeter set to DC to test that out. So we'll get that going there. Find some ground somewhere. All right, let me fire up the engine. We'll see if I can do this with the 3 hands I don't have. Alright, we have to make sure these things are separate from each other. I don't know if you could see the sparking there, but they were touching a bit. So, and this thing will have to get tucked away. We'll figure all that out. And then, okay, where's this thing going? Let me see if I can show you here. Here's the gas tank. So here's the solenoid, and I'm just going to attach it to the battery side of the solenoid. And I believe that's all I need to do. So I'm sure there'll be lots of comments, but I got it done. Okay, getting that charging system to work is like a morale boost. So let's get after this dried bondo here. It's nice and hard now. I think this is going to turn out fine, and I'll just grind this down. Alright, for a mowing deck, I am satisfied with that. So we'll paint the tractor now. Have some Rust-Oleum black semi-gloss. And that's like 3/4 of a can. Takes 5 minutes once you have everything all prepped and ready to go. Yeah, I don't think this area will be an issue at all. And just one other thing about this mowing deck, it was only attached with one of these on the front, but I should have another one of these, because this one needs two. Alright, we'll let that dry. Just drove this around for a little bit. It's running great. Let's get the oil drained out of it. I added a lot of oil at the beginning of working on this tractor, so I kind of feel bad draining it, but look at it, it's not all that nice. So I'm glad we're doing it, but yeah, that was at least 1 quart of new oil that I put in there. But yeah, you got to change the oil when you sell these things, because the customers are never going to do it. Nobody changes oil. We'll get the oil filter replaced here. I'm usually a Tractor Supply kind of guy, but I'm trying to save a bit of money now. In the winter, I'm not making many sales, and you know, the hobby money is pretty low. So this is the right type of oil filter, and I'm probably going to start buying these because they're so much cheaper than going to Tractor Supply. Even though you can get like a Kohler oil filter, which is pretty nice to have that on the machine, I just don't think anyone cares. So, you know, this is about half the price, maybe even better than that, but the right number for SuperTech ST3614. That will go on Briggs and Kohler. So we'll get this replaced here. That's a SuperTech on there. 3614. So someone had the right part on there. I didn't even know that. been at it a while off camera here, just doing a bunch of cleaning, degreasing, wiping things down. Took off the gas tank and there was a little bit of plastic shrapnel in there. Got that out of there, cleaned the whole tank, drained the oil, filled the oil, put on a fuel shutoff, and I'm addressing this wheel again because I don't like the way I had it on before. I like the valve stem out and it was in, but with the way this wheel goes and the connections that were on here, we're going to do this just a little bit different than at the beginning of the video when I installed these. So I'm going to put this style bushing on the interior, and that's going to give me the spacing I want here so that I can get the clip on, and then also have the valve stem on the outside. So just for anyone who thought that might be a better plan in the beginning of the video, I think you're right. So we'll just address that now so that it's the way we want it. Alright, we have that on correctly. Let's see if we can get this hubcap thingy. There we go. That tire's all set up. I think this one needs a hubcap too. There we go. And this one's all set up, just needs the hubcap. There, very nice. Alright, well, I was kind of rushing to try to see if I can finish this today, but I decided to hit that with another coat, and we'll let that dry overnight. Still have to polish up the hood. But yeah, this took a long time to clean up. I've been in the shed for a while here, just wiping things down. It is not easy to clean in the cold when something's this dirty. But yeah, it looks pretty good though. Happy with it. Okay, folks, I think she's done. We got it all polished up too. I think this is as good as it's gonna look. I'm gonna take it outside in a minute and we'll do a proper outro, but it's not gonna look so great outside because it's snowing. But yeah, I cleaned this thing up and gave her the shine with some WD-40. I did a few things off camera after I put the deck on. The deck didn't have a return spring on the clutch engagement, or the mowing belt engagement. So that's why earlier in the video the blades were stuck on. It also had a lot of debris in there. So yeah, I had to lubricate that area, put a spring on it. Now it fires right back and the brakes work on the blades. So the blade stopped spinning, which is important. And then I did one other thing that I suppose is worth noting. Again, these little things are a bit of a mystery to me. I'm sure someone's going to fill me in and tell me how much I don't know, but that's okay, guys. I took one of these out because as I was running this thing more and more, the lights would kind of occasionally get really bright, you know, like that's a bad sign. So I double checked the voltage on the battery, and every once in a while it would spike up to something like 18, which is way too high. So I was like, oh man, what's going on here? It's one of these things is battling it. So this, I think, was still trying to give it voltage, like DC voltage, on top of the rectifier I have. You know, there's just a little bit of a conflict going on. So I removed one of these, probably, I guess, the faulty one after all, and now everything is like dead on. It's always 14.44, ironically, and it doesn't budge from that, which is perfect. Anything higher than that, you would call that overcharging, but I think 14.4, that's fine. It's on the high side, obviously, but it's not dangerous, and it doesn't budge at all, so I'm happy with that. So yeah, this thing starts easily. There's no problems like that. Really, I think it's going to be absolutely reliable. Really happy with the way this turned out. All right, let's get it outside in the snow, see what she looks like. Thanks for following along as I fix this 2001 Craftsman LT1000. I thought it was a great trade, getting rid of that Onan generator, and this wasn't too bad to fix, although it did need a lot of attention. But these things are a bit immortal, don't you think? They have been around for a long time. Super popular lawn tractors. I think a lot of you guys have these things, and hopefully this video will be a bit helpful to people, but also just kind of fun to tag along on the journey of taking something that doesn't run and getting it back to a working machine. Well, if you didn't know, my name is Kyle. Of course, the channel is Kyle by the Creek. I hope you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Help the channel grow a bit. I'm having some fun making these videos, and I hope you return for the next one. Thanks, everyone.